Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm Jen. I am a 25,000 affiliate with HempWorks, and every Tuesday I get on this group page and do a live. So I'm going to wait a second, see if anybody jumps on live, and then I will get started. I thought I would cover some keywords, buzz, terms, definitions, and the difference between full spectrum CBD and isolate THC CBD today. So I'm going to just wait a second, see if anybody jumps on. If you're watching this on a replay, just type in replay later on so we know you're watching later. Hey, Stacy. So I'm going to just wait a second or two, see if anybody jumps on, and I'll get going. Got a little button here. All right. Hey, girls. So I thought it was really, really important. I know that there's a ton of confusion between all of the buzzwords that are out there, all things CBD and cannabis related. So I wanted to go over that today just to kind of refresh for anybody that has seen me do this before and inform for anybody that hasn't seen me do this yet. So thought I would start with, the basics. Hey, everybody. Let's see. Okay, so I thought I would start off with, everybody's always asking me all the time, the difference between full spectrum CBD and the isolate THC-free CBD. So let's start with that. The full spectrum CBD, what that means is, and there's always so much confusion where a lot of people go out to buy their CBD. They don't know what they're getting. They don't know what to look for. They're worried about drug testing, all things related to CBD. So many questions that are out there. So with full spectrum, in the hemp plant, there's up to 120 cannabinoids in that plant, or cannabinoids, depending on who you ask how it's pronounced, in the hemp plant. Every single one of those cannabinoids has a set of receptors in our bodies that it's responsible for taking care of, for maintaining, for putting it back into a state of what we call homeostasis, which is balance, meaning that you're getting those receptors to work the right way. So in that full spectrum, what that means, if you're getting a full spectrum oil, is every single one of those cannabinoids in that hemp plant are in that oil. So you're getting the full, what you'll hear people say, the entourage effect. That is all of those cannabinoids working together in your body to start getting it back into balance and getting things working the right way again. That is full spectrum oil. Hey guys, hey Beth, thank you. So with your isolate is a THC free. For those of you that don't know THC, that is the psychoactive component in the marijuana plant. So, and I'll go over those as well. The difference between hemp and marijuana I think is really important when talking about CBD and all things related. So your isolate CBD, what that means is only the CBD cannabinoid is extracted from the plant. It's isolated from all of the other ones. So you're only getting CBD in that oil. You're not getting THC, CBG, any of the other ones that are out there. You're just getting CBD. That is what I like to call the backup plan oil for anybody that's concerned with drug testing issues for work. It's kind of my very basic explanation. People will always ask me, will it work the same as the full spectrum? I will be honest, I didn't know that it would when this first got launched last May, the isolate, because it doesn't have all of the other cannabinoids. My concern was that it wouldn't work as well. I have had tremendous reports coming back from me from customers that are using the isolate, specifically either for drug testing, or if they still aren't sure that there's THC in it or not and they're concerned about giving it to children, they will use the isolate, in particular for behavioral issues. And they're all coming back with raving reports that it's working. It's working for every single thing that the full spectrum works for as well. So it does work. And there's no concern for the THC testing positive. With full spectrum, people will always ask me because there is a trace of that THC in there. And that is what people screen for in a lot of drug tests, especially employment. They look for traces of THC, which comes, like I said, the marijuana plant. With your full spectrum oil, to be federally compliant, you can't have more than 0.3% trace of THC in your oil. Ours has under 0.03%, so we're well under that threshold of being considered compliant and legal. But on its own, there's not enough to cause a positive drug test. It's just such a minute trace amount. It won't cause a psychoactive. It's not going to cause a high. It's not going to cause any issues. Exactly, Janet's talking about children getting drug tested for school sports. Same thing, that's where you would want the isolate. So in that full spectrum, that THC is not enough to cause a positive on its own. However, these cannabinoids in the oil bind to our fat cells and our receptors in our bodies. Has nothing to do with the water in our body, which I'll talk about in a minute. It literally binds to your fat cells and your receptors. So if your fat cells in your body happen to like THC a little bit more than some of those other cannabinoids, it can accumulate over time and it can potentially cause a positive on a drug test. So if anybody's ever concerned with drug testing for work, it's the first thing I ask whenever I talk to anybody that is taking CBD or interested in using it, is if there's any concern whatsoever for drug testing with work, with school, sports, anything like that. I always recommend the isolate just to be on the safe side. It literally has CBD as the cannabinoid, and you do lose the other ones, but you just have that one. The research that's out there right now is showing of all the cannabinoids that they're researching at this time, CBD is the number one for its medicinal benefits for our bodies with our receptors. So THC is the second one. They both work really, really well. They have incredible medicinal benefits for all of us, which I think is amazing. But full spectrum has always been my go-to. It's always what I recommend right out of the gate unless somebody's concerned with drug testing. So hopefully that clears that up. I'm looking, I don't see any questions yet. So that's your difference between full spectrum and isolate. People will ask me that all the time. What does isolate mean? Just like it sounds, you're isolating that CBD cannabinoid for your oil. So you're removing everything else in there and you just get that one big bang CBD cannabinoid. If it's over 1,000 milligram oil, people will ask me all the time, why doesn't HempWorks have anything higher than 750? In the United States, we're a country where more is always better. We always want bigger, we want better, we want shinier. With CBD, that's not how this works. You want to start really low and slow. And I know I've done a live on this before, but I'm going to repeat it just for anybody that may not have seen me talk about this before. With introducing CBD and these cannabinoids into your system, my very best analogy to give you guys, because it's repeatable, is if you think of a starving animal on the side of the road that you come across that hasn't eaten in weeks and it's literally skin and bones starving, you're not going to feed that animal a full plate of food right away because you're going to make him sick. His body or her body won't understand how to process that food. It's either going to vomit it up or it's going to go toxic. It's going to make that animal sick. With our systems, this endocannabinoid system that we have in our bodies, I've done a whole live video on that on this page recently, so I'm not going to re-explain the endocannabinoid system, but short version, the ECS in our systems, this endocannabinoid system, literally regulates and controls every single function in our body. But in order for it to stay balanced or stay fueled, hydrated, working properly, it requires cannabinoids to maintain what we call homeostasis or balance. So you want to introduce this slowly. If you think of this system like thinking of the stray animal, our systems have been depleted of and deprived of hemp and all these cannabinoids literally for most of our lifetimes, unless anybody on here was born before 1939, which I doubt, or 1937. If you were born before 1937, you had hemp in your food source. You had cannabinoids from the hemp plant in the meat that you were eating because that's what they grazed on. We don't have that anymore. It's slowly coming back into this country, which is really exciting. Our bodies actually require it to function the right way. So when you think of that starving animal as you're gradually introducing this into your system, you don't want to shock your endocannabinoid system by giving it too much too fast. I've had people that'll call me and say, well, I need 1,000 milligram because I have, raging chronic pain or these horrible issues. That's not the case. If you start too much too high, you're going to cause it to actually not work with your system. Your system's going to go, I don't know what this is, get rid of it. And it's going to try to eliminate it before it's absorbed and it doesn't start to work the right way. So a lot of people will call me and say, I started with our 750 milligram. I started at 20 drops twice a day, just like the bottle said, and it didn't work. Started too high. Any affiliate that you're working with should be giving you a serving chart that gives you guidelines on how to use this. If you buy CBD oil online, just from Amazon, let's say, if you go into a health food store, you go into a pharmacy, they're not going to tell you how to use it the right way. They don't know how to use it the right way. I've gone in and trained pharmacies in this area, and I go back in and I hear them talking to customers, and they still don't know how to tell people to take this the right way. So it's really important that you're working with an affiliate with this company that you trust and that they're knowledgeable, that they can show you how to use this the right way, how to start, where to start, what milligram to start off with, I think is extremely important. I always work with anybody that I've always talked to as far as what issues they're having, what milligram they want to start with between the 500 and the 750, and how to take it. The low and the slow, the 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, I've done videos on this page before about how to take it, how it works, why it works, where to start. So you guys can always go back and take a look at that. So I'm not going to kind of repeat that today, but you can always go back and listen to that. But you want to start low and slow. You want to start with roughly 5 drops under your tongue twice a day. Our eyedroppers are not measured out, so you would have to stand in front of a mirror like I did and count them as you put them under your tongue twice a day. You can use it topically, which I think is amazing. If somebody, either older generation, seems to be a little timid on using this under their tongues as what we call a sublingual, which means under your tongue, they can use it as a topical. They've got joint pain, different issues that they're having, they can use it that way and at least get it into their systems to start feeling the effects of it. It will work topically, which I think is great. A lot of people ask me all the time the difference between hemp and marijuana. So I thought I would touch on that as some of my terms and definitions. So cannabis in general, let's start there. Cannabis is the master plant, let's say, for lack of better terms. When you think of the cannabis plant, most people go, oh, it's marijuana. They don't realize hemp is what I would call a cousin plant to marijuana. So you've got cannabis, and then there's 2 strains. There's your hemp plant and there's the marijuana plant. Your hemp plant is what is high in the CBD cannabinoid, but very low in THC. So you get the benefits that you need to make your system work the right way without the psychoactive or the high feeling. If you are looking at marijuana, marijuana is the opposite. Marijuana is actually high, no pun intended, in the THC that causes the psychoactive, and it's very low in CBD. So it's the flip side of the hemp plant. So people will ask, how is this different than marijuana? You get all of these great health benefits to the hemp plant without the high feeling, which if you're like me, I don't want to be high. I can't drive a car. I can't form a sentence. I can't hold a conversation. So I like the effects of the hemp plant. So hopefully that cleared that up. People will ask me all the time the difference between hemp seed oil and CBD oil, which I think is another big one. So your hemp seed oil comes from the seeds of the hemp plant. There is literally what I would like to say an untraceable amount of cannabinoids in that hemp seed itself, not even enough to talk about. So for lack of better terms, let's say there's really no cannabinoids in the hemp seed itself. But your cannabinoids, when they're extracted from the plant, they're very thick and pasty, so they need what's called a carrier to help them work into your system and absorb where they need to go. So HempWorks uses hemp seed oil as our carrier, which obviously comes from the same plant as all the other cannabinoids. You'll see other products out there that might use things like olive oil, coconut oil, vegetable glycerin, all these different oils that they use as a carrier. MCT oil, which I'll mention in a second. I'll write it down so I don't forget. You want to use hemp seed oil as your carrier, and I'll give you the reasons why. If you're using a CBD oil that is using coconut oil as the carrier, coconut oil is not harmful to you by far, but it doesn't come from the same source as your cannabinoids, and it's higher in saturated fat. And guess what? If you're using the oil topically, you're going to clog your pores. Coconut oil, the more you use it on your skin, it doesn't absorb into your skin. It can clog your pores and cause some issues. So you want to look for a CBD oil like HempWorks that uses hemp seed oil as the carrier. So with hemp seed oil as well, it also has anti-inflammatory properties, and it's rich in omega-3 and omega-6. So it does have health benefits aside from just being part of the same plant. So it's truly what I call full spectrum, where you're using the entire plant for all of the benefits that you can get from it, which I think are really, really important. CBD oil comes from other parts of the plant, and those are your cannabinoids, like CBD, CBG, CBN, THVC, THVA, THC. They're all in these plants, and those are what bind to our receptors and help them to work the right way. When they're working the right way and we're more balanced with this back in our systems, that's where you see these issues start to subside. That's how it works the right way. I love, obviously, analogies. If you've watched me do this before, I'm always giving analogies. So a couple different ones. If you think about your body being depleted of cannabinoids from the hemp plant, if you think, somebody mentioned a few weeks ago, the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz, he runs out of oil, he gets stuck in the rain, and he sits for like 100 years or something. Hey, Michaela. But he's stuck. He can't move, so he needs oil to start loosening everything up and working the right way again. CBD oil is like that for our systems, where you literally need that to work the right way. When it's removed, we go into endocannabinoid deficiency. So it literally means our systems are completely deficient in cannabinoids. And that's where you start to see these issues arise. If you want to see the detailed video I did on that, it is on this group page. I did it a few weeks ago, so you're more than welcome to scroll back and take a look at that. But that's the difference. I think that's really important to kind of understand. Hemp seed oil, CBD. Trying to think what else. CBD is actually cannabidiol. So that was something else I learned when I started doing this. I didn't know what CBD, cannabinoid, cannabidiol, marijuana, THC, I didn't know the difference between all of this stuff. So I think it's really important to kind of know that there is a difference. Cannabidiol is CBD. CBD is the abbreviation for it. And those are literally chemical compounds in the hemp plant that work with our receptors that we need. We do make 2 of our own cannabinoids. I know I'm going to say it wrong. I believe one is called edemadide. I forget what the other one's called. I will say it wrong anyways. But there's 2 that we make on our own. They're called endogenous cannabinoids. We make them ourselves. But we need help from the hemp plant to get those kind of fired up and working the right way. So the cannabinoids that come from the hemp plant are called phytocannabinoids. And then the third type of cannabinoid is synthetic. So if you've been watching the news at all, our government is actually working on bringing out a pharmaceutical, CBD. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say the name of it on here, so I'm not going to, but that pharmaceutical CBD will be a synthetic. It's not going to be natural from a plant. It's going to be made in a laboratory somewhere, and it's going to cost roughly $25,000 to $32,000 annually for the consumer. But that is your third type of cannabinoid that's out there on the market. HempWorks is the phytocannabinoid, comes right from the hemp plant. Everything on it's natural. I know a lot of you guys are kind of asking me questions while I'm talking, so when I get off the live, I will go back and answer those for you. And I always want to make mention, if you're working currently with an affiliate with HempWorks, if you have questions on becoming an affiliate, if you have questions on ordering product, reordering product, make sure you check in with your affiliate. They will have all of these answers for you that you can follow up. If you're not working with an affiliate, feel free to message this page, and I will be sure to get back to you with any questions that you might have. MCT oil I mentioned earlier. I want to mention it again. MCT oil typically is an organic coconut oil. If it is CO2 cold press extracted, meaning when they extract that oil from the coconut, they don't use any harsh solvents or chemicals. Same with, hey Barb, same with our product too. We use CO2 cold press on the plants. So we're not heating them up. We're not literally destroying the contents of that plant. We're not breaking it down from its natural state. So you're getting like the best quality out of that plant because it's not going through a strenuous, rigorous, system where you're using solvents on that plant. If the hemp plant or the cannabinoids are heated up, they break down before they're ingested. Chemicals like alcohol would be what I would consider something that would heat that up and break it down. So you're actually losing the strength or the concentration of what you're getting out of that plant before you even use it. If it's ingested and it goes into your stomach and your digestive tract, it will not harm you, but it will break down before it actually reaches your system. So if you think about it, if you are just ingesting CBD oil, you're not putting it under your tongue, it's actually going to your stomach. The stomach acid breaks it down. It's considered a heat. And then it goes on to your digestive tract. So within 90 minutes before it even hits your system, your bloodstream, it's going through this whole process and it's getting broken down before it even reaches where it needs to go. So that's why we always suggest using CBD under your tongue, which is, like I said, the sublingual. So your MCT oil, again, if it's truly an organic MCT oil and it's not going through the solvent process, it's got great benefits to you. Not what I recommend in a CBD oil, but it does have benefits. If it goes through a fractionated process, that means they use solvents in that extraction process for the coconut oil. Those solvents then end up as a byproduct in your oil. And then if you add that to your CBD oil, you're getting solvents as a byproduct in your system. Those solvents are known to cause stomach cramps, diarrhea, and vomiting. So you always want to look for MCT oil on your labels of whatever you're taking. Ours does not have MCT oil, nor should it. But that's something really important so that people understand the difference between a truly organic MCT oil and the fractionated. I think it's really important. Sorry, my phone's buzzing. The other one I always want to mention, this is a big one in my area. I'm up in Northwest Indiana, and one of the big companies floating around here, I won't say the name of it, but their claim to fame is that they make their CBD oil water soluble. So I have people ask me all the time, is HempWorks oil water soluble? Water soluble means, I'm sure everybody watching this right now realizes or knows that oil and water don't mix. Oil in its natural state, untampered, let's say, does not mix with water, and it shouldn't. So the claim to fame on this water soluble CBD oil, they market it, and I just read a whole book on this. It's actually a marketing gimmick because it sounds like they're above all of the other companies that are out there. They did not get the U.S. Hemp Authority seal of approval recently. We did. So did our hemp farms that we use. So this water soluble, what they do is they break down the CBD, the cannabinoids, from their natural state so that they mix with water. Their claim is that our bodies are 75 to 80% water, so that you need to have a CBD oil that mixes with the water so that it gets where it needs to go in your system quicker. Has nothing to do with how CBD works. CBD actually works, like I said, by binding to your fat cells and your receptors in your body. Nothing to do with water in your body. So when people ask me if we're water soluble, the answer is no, nor should it be. My theory, I always grew up saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So CBD, these cannabinoids in their natural state, extracted from the plant in the right way with CO2 cold press, don't need to be tampered with. They don't need to be altered. They work just fine, just how they are. They do not need to mix with water. The company that's doing that, when you ask them what do they use to break that down from its natural state to make it water soluble, they call it a secret proprietary blend, which literally means they're not going to tell you how they do it at all. To me, as a consumer, that's concerning because I don't know what solvents they're using. I don't know what process they're using. I don't know if it's going to be something that's going to be harmful for me. I have had a number of people use this water-soluble oil and come to me telling me it made them sick within 20 minutes. Same thing, as I mentioned earlier, stomach cramps, diarrhea, and vomiting. So we don't have that problem with HempWorks. It's not a concern. It's very, very good for you. It's not going to give you the issues that I just mentioned, which I think are phenomenal. But those are things that you need to look for when you're looking for a good quality CBD oil. This company in particular, I went with this after I did all my homework. I went with HempWorks because we have the full spectrum oil. We have the isolate THC free. We do lab testing, third-party lab testing, meaning we send our oil off to an independent laboratory where they test every batch. They test our batches of oil. They come back with our reports, and our lab reports are public record right on our website under documentation. Anybody can see them. There's some companies out there that claim they have lab testing, but they don't even release their reports, their findings, until you order product from their site. Little deceiving, in my opinion. So if I'm going to be using CBD oil, I want to know what's in it. I want to know what that company tests for. HempWorks not only tests for solvents, contaminants, we test for heavy metals like lead and arsenic. We test for mold. We test for anything else you can think of. There are companies out there that their oil has lead and arsenic in it. And I know I've mentioned that before on this team page, this group page. So lead and arsenic can come from non-organic soil, which I think is scary. So if you're growing a hemp plant on soil that's not organic, there's a really good chance you've got heavy metals in that ground, in that soil. Your heavy metals are things like lead and arsenic. If the plant is absorbing what they would consider nutrients at that point, that plant is going to end up with lead and arsenic in it as it's maturing. So when the plant's harvested and then they extract these cannabinoids from it, you're going to end up with lead and arsenic in your CBD oil. Then you're going to ingest it, and that is a byproduct that will end up in your system. It can potentially make you very, very sick. So if you are in a pharmacy and you're looking at their CBD oil and you want to ask them questions, ask them if they provide third-party lab testing. If they don't even consider buying that product because you don't know what's in it. There should be a non-disclosed, it should be transparent to let you know what's in that product. And if they don't do that, you need to walk away as fast as you can. We do, like I said, test for all of that. We use the CO2 cold press extraction method, which means the plant is not altered, it's not harmed, it's not taken apart or moved around. It literally is the best quality product that you can find that's out there. People ask me all the time, even some higher ranking affiliates in this company will send me bottles of things that other consumers are using and ask me what it looks like, how it compares to us. And I will tell you wholeheartedly, I have not found a CBD oil that even compares to HempWorks as far as everything that we have to offer with the lab testing. The ingredients are pure, they're natural. There's only 2 ingredients, 3 if you don't like the taste of the natural. It's just the best product that I have found that's out there that I think is just incredible. And the way that it helps people and pets is just, there's nothing else like it that I've come across. Even that I have people switching from other companies over to this, and they're like, I don't know why I didn't try this sooner. This worked, the other one didn't. My doctor gave me this other sample, and it was water soluble, and it made me sick. And you got to be really careful what you're looking for. There's so much junk out there, and it's not regulated right now. So you've got to be careful. You've got to read labels. You've got to ask questions. That's what we're here for on this page. We can answer any questions that you have. The other thing I wanted to mention really quick was bioavailability. It's another big buzz term that's out there that a lot of people don't understand what that means. Bioavailability, in my words, is a sales gimmick to make them sound more important. It's nothing other than absorption rate. They're kind of marketing that. You'll hear people talk about nanotechnology, bioavailability, nanoemulsion, something or other, all these big crazy words. Those are literally words that try to make their oil sound fancier than others that are out there. It's your absorption rate. And if it goes right underneath your tongue, it absorbs as fast. It absorbs at 98%. So you don't have to worry about it going through your system and doing all this stuff to you. It's very, very safe. I'm trying to think what else I wanted to mention. I think that was the majority of it. And I will go back through and answer questions. Like I said, if you have questions, follow up with your affiliate if you've got one with the company. We also have an event coming up if anybody is over in the Akron, Ohio area. This Saturday, there is a HempWorks event. I will be going and coming there from Indiana. There's a few other people on the team that are coming from Canada, Wisconsin, all over the place. So we're going to be doing an event there from 2 to 5 Eastern time, and that is at the Akron Fairlane Hilton in Ohio. So it should be fantastic. There'll be all kinds of presentations and information. I will be one of the presenters, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. If anybody has any questions, like I said, let me know. I will go back through and answer questions after this. And thanks you guys for listening. If you have any questions, let us know. Have a great day.